Hey people, get ready to crush everyday IELTS and CELPIP tests for all modules and make your dreams come true. I'm your motivator and I'll be guiding you through the test prep videos. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or you'll be missing out on some serious preparation.
Section 1. You will hear a man contacting a language school to inquire about evening courses. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 10.
Good afternoon, Langford Language School. How can I help?
Oh, hello there. Yes, I'm ringing to ask about your evening courses, actually. I came across your details online and thought I'd give you a call.
Of course, you've called the right place. Shall I take a few details from you and register your inquiry?
Yes, please, that'd be great.
Lovely. Could I start with your surname, please?
Yes, it's Hartley. Hartley.
Hartley, brilliant, thank you. And a contact telephone number?
Right, it's 07823 for 61509.
Let me just read that back. 07823 461 509?
That's the one, yes.
Perfect. Now, which language are you thinking of learning?
Portuguese. I've been meaning to pick it up for quite some time now, so I thought I'd finally do something about it.
Oh, lovely choice. And may I ask what's brought this on? Is it for travel, or perhaps something work-related?
It's mainly for a job interview, actually. I've applied for a position at a company that has very strong ties with Brazil, so being able to speak a bit of Portuguese would be a real advantage.
Oh, that's a fantastic motivation. And what level would you say you're at currently? Have you had any exposure to Portuguese before?
No, not really. I'd honestly describe myself as a beginner, a complete beginner, if anything.
That's absolutely fine, don't worry at all. We have a very popular beginners group. Now, we run our Portuguese evening classes on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Is there a particular day that suits you better?
Wednesday, I think. Monday is a bit of a nightmare for me after work, so Wednesday would be much better.
Wednesday, perfect. And our next beginners Portuguese group gets underway on the 5th of October. Does that timing work for you?
The 5th of October, yes, that should work out very nicely.
Wonderful. Now, in terms of fees, the course runs over 10 weeks, and the full cost for the term is £160.
£160, right. And does that cover the course materials as well?
The online resources are all included in that fee, yes. There is a small additional charge for the printed workbook, but that's quite minimal, only around £7 or £8.
Oh, that's absolutely fine. And where are the classes actually held? Is it here in town?
Yes, all of our evening sessions take place at Cedar House, which is just off the high street, very easy to find, and there's public transport nearby as well.
Cedar House, great. Is there parking available there at all?
There is a small car park at the rear of the building, yes. Now, just one final thing, how would you prefer to make payment? We accept debit or credit card, Or you can do a bank transfer if that's more convenient.
Bank transfer would be the easiest option for me, definitely.
Not a problem at all. I'll send a confirmation email through to you with all the payment details and the joining instructions. Is there anything else you'd like to know at this stage?
No, I think that covers everything, really. You've been incredibly helpful. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. We do look forward to having you join us. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.
That is the end of section 1. You now have some time to check your answers to section 1. Section 2. You will hear a council representative announcing a new recycling program. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 20.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Collins, and I'm the Recycling Development Officer at Hartfield Borough Council. Thank you for coming to today's information session. I'm pleased to tell you about our new initiative, which we're calling the Green Hartfield Recycling Programme. First, let me confirm the launch date. We had originally intended to begin on the 1st of September, but due to the delivery schedule for the new bins, the program will officially start on the 15th of September. Please make a note of that date, the 15th of September, as some residents may have heard different figures circulating online. One of the most significant improvements we're introducing is a change to how often your recycling is collected. Our current service operates fortnightly, but under the new program, recycling bins will be collected every single week. We believe this will make a real difference, especially for larger households producing significant volumes of recyclable material. We are also introducing a new color-coded bin system. You may have heard speculation about which bin would be used for glass. We did consider using blue or green, but to avoid confusion with bins already in use, glass will go in the brown bin. So please remember, brown is exclusively for glass. I want to speak frankly about contamination, which has been a persistent problem across the borough. If inspectors find that a bin contains items that do not belong there, the householder will receive a fixed penalty notice of £100. I appreciate this may seem firm, but maintaining the quality of recyclable material is absolutely essential if we are to meet our targets. You will, of course, want to know how to obtain your new bins. I want to be very clear on this point. The bins will not be delivered to your door. You will need to collect them in person from the council depot on Meridian Road, which is open Monday to Saturday, 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock. Please bring proof of address when you visit. We do recognize that traveling to the depot may be difficult for some residents. For elderly residents or those with limited mobility, the council is offering a free home visit assistance service. A trained council worker will come directly to your property, deliver your bins, and help you understand the new sorting system. This service is completely free of charge and can be booked by calling our helpline. Now I'd like to give you some specific information about particular categories of waste. Let's start with garden waste, things like grass clippings, leaves, and small branches. Our dedicated garden waste collection service is currently being piloted in selected streets in the Northgate area of the borough. We are monitoring the results closely and aim to extend the service further later this year. Many of you have been asking about food waste, and I'm glad to say we have positive news. Our food waste collection will be launched borough-wide next month. You'll soon receive a green food caddy delivered to your property, along with a supply of compostable liners to get you started. Regarding electrical items, small appliances, old mobile phones, cables, and chargers, these cannot be placed in any of your household bins under any circumstances. Items like these must be taken to the recycling centre on Barlow Avenue, which accepts electrical waste on weekdays and Saturday mornings. One final reminder about glass bottles and jars, which go in your new brown bin. Before placing them in the bin, please ensure they are rinsed thoroughly. You do not need to remove labels, but containers must be clean and completely empty. This helps prevent contamination of the entire batch at the sorting facility. Thank you very much for your attention this morning. Information leaflets are available at the back of the room, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
That is the end of Section 2. You now have some time to check your answers to Section 2. Section 3. You will hear two students discussing their joint assignment on healthcare systems. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 30. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 30.
Right, shall we run through everything before we go in to see Dr. Evans? I want to make sure we're on the same page about the assignment.
Yes, good idea. I've just finished rereading the section we wrote comparing the UK and German systems. Tom, what did you find most striking when you were researching those two?
Honestly, I assumed it would come down to funding models, but what actually stood out most was the patient waiting times. Germany gets people seen far more quickly, even for non-urgent cases. I genuinely wasn't expecting that gap to be so wide.
That's a really strong point to highlight. And when I was looking at the overall rankings, France kept coming out on top. Not because of its technology or the doctor-to-patient ratio, but because it genuinely provides universal coverage for all its citizens, regardless of income or employment status. That's what sets it apart from the others.
Agreed. Which leads neatly into the US section. I mean, private healthcare there might seem attractive for wealthier patients, but the core problem is that it really creates significant inequality in access to treatment. If you can't pay, you simply don't get the same care.
Absolutely. And that connects to something we flagged across every system, whether we were looking at Europe, North America, or parts of Asia, they're all under the same pressure. An aging population is straining budgets and resources everywhere. That really is the shared crisis.
Exactly. More elderly patients, higher costs, and greater demand on services. It transcends geography. Now, how did you find the process of actually collecting all our data? You took the lead on that.
I tried government policy reports at first, and I had a look at some hospital publications too, but Honestly, the online academic databases were far more reliable. The figures were properly verified and consistent across different countries. That's where the solid evidence was.
Good to know. I'll reference that in the methodology section. And for the conclusion, I don't think we should argue for one single global model. That's far too simplistic. What I'd actually recommend is that we suggest a combination of public and private funding as the most realistic and balanced pathway forward.
I think that's the right call. It avoids being too prescriptive. Now, stepping back and looking at the assignment as a whole, gathering all the statistics on healthcare expenditure took us way longer than we planned, didn't it?
It really did. I thought we could pull that together in a week, but it ended up taking nearly 3. The figures from different countries weren't always directly comparable, so we had to adjust a lot of things.
And the section on emerging economies, we just couldn't go into enough depth. There wasn't time. That area really needs more research before we can say anything conclusive about it. I hope Dr. Evans doesn't press us too hard on that.
I think we should acknowledge it as a limitation. What did you personally find the hardest part of the whole project?
Without a doubt, it was comparing the different insurance models across countries. The terminology varies so much, and the structural differences are genuinely complex. Mapping them against each other was the most challenging part of the entire assignment for me.
I can completely understand that. Oh, did Dr. Evans reply about the draft introduction we sent him last week?
He did, yes. I was bracing myself for quite a lot of critical feedback, but actually his response was very positive. It was honestly better than I expected. He only had a couple of minor suggestions.
That's reassuring. Right, I think we're ready. Shall we knock?
Come in. Tom and Sarah, good to see you both. Take a seat and let's go through what you've put together.
That is the end of section 3. You now have some time to check your answers to section 3. Section 4. You will hear university lecture on how coral reefs are formed and why they are under threat. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. Today I want to take you through one of the most extraordinary ecosystems on our planet, coral reefs. These remarkable structures are frequently described as the rainforests of the sea, and as we'll discover, that comparison is entirely justified. Over the next 40 minutes or so, I'll be examining both how coral reefs are formed and the very serious pressures that now threaten their survival on a global scale. Let's begin with the question of formation, because the process is genuinely astonishing. Coral reefs are built by tiny marine animals called coral polyps, and each polyp secretes a hard skeleton composed of calcium carbonate, essentially the same material as limestone. It is the gradual accumulation of these skeletons, layer upon layer over thousands of years, that produces the physical reef structure we recognize today. Now, polyps do not operate in isolation. They live in a vital symbiotic relationship with microscopic algae that reside directly within their tissues, and these algae provide the polyp with up to 90% of its energy through photosynthesis, which is precisely why corals require clear, sunlit, shallow water. In terms of overall structure, reefs take several distinct forms. The most common type, found growing outward directly from tropical coastlines, is called a fringing reef, and these account for the majority of reef systems catalogued worldwide. Turning now to threats, coral reefs around the world are under severe pressure from a range of human-induced factors. The most widely reported of these is linked to rising ocean temperatures. When water becomes excessively warm, polyps expel the algae living within their tissues, turning the coral a stark white color, a phenomenon universally referred to as coral bleaching. Without algae, the coral is critically weakened and will die if temperatures do not return to normal within a matter of weeks. A second, equally serious threat stems from our changing atmosphere. As atmospheric carbon dioxide levels continue to climb, increasing quantities of CO are absorbed by the oceans, driving a process known as ocean acidification, which progressively dissolves and undermines the calcium carbonate structures upon which the entire reef depends. There is also a third pressure at the local level. Agricultural runoff from coastal farming introduces excessive nutrients, fine sediment and chemical pollutants into reef ecosystems, suffocating corals and promoting the unchecked growth of competing algae. To appreciate what is genuinely at stake here, it helps to consider the numbers. Coral reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean floor. Some estimates place the figure even lower, yet the biodiversity they host is staggering. Scientists calculate that reefs support approximately a quarter of all known marine species, from commercially harvested fish and crustaceans to rare mollusks and sponges. Beyond ecology, reefs provide coastal protection for hundreds of millions of people, buffering shorelines against storm surge and erosion, and they contribute an estimated $10 billion annually to global fisheries and tourism. Looking ahead, the trajectory is deeply alarming unless decisive action is taken. Scientists now warn that most of the world's coral reefs could disappear entirely by 2050 if greenhouse gas emissions are not drastically reduced. The central driver, as I noted earlier, remains climate change. Research has confirmed that even a sustained rise of 2 degrees in water temperature above the long-term seasonal maximum is sufficient to trigger mass bleaching events affecting reef systems across entire ocean basins. There are, however, grounds for cautious optimism. Conservation programs are actively investigating coral restoration, including the selective breeding of heat-resistant coral strains and the transplantation of laboratory-cultivated fragments onto damaged reefs. International climate commitments, including those established under the Paris Agreement, are also attempting to constrain warming to levels that would give reefs a realistic chance of recovery. In summary, coral reefs are among the most productive and biologically diverse habitats on Earth, structures built painstakingly over millennia by coral polyps, yet now facing threats that have intensified within a single human lifetime. Understanding the mechanisms of their formation and the full range of pressures acting upon them is an essential foundation for any meaningful conservation response.
That is the end of section 4. You now have some time to check your answers to section 4. That is the end of the IELTS listening test. You now have some time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.
Hey people, how was your test? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or you'll be missing out on some serious fun. See you tomorrow!